60 or over? Do these 5 steps this year. You owe it to yourself and your family. Hi, I'm an elder law attorney. Here are 5 steps that may save you tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in planning your estate. Do these 5 steps, and you can be assured of not only big savings, but long-lasting peace of mind. Step number 1. Durable power of attorney. First, make sure you have a durable power of attorney. That is a power of attorney giving broad powers to someone you trust, which will remain effective even if you become mentally incapacitated. Unlike an ordinary or general power of attorney, which does not, you have to be mentally able to direct what the agent does with a regular power of attorney. You do not with a durable power of attorney. Step number 2. Make sure you execute a healthcare proxy. Healthcare proxy is a document that appoints somebody you trust, a son, a daughter, a spouse, to make healthcare decisions for you, only if you are unable to make them for yourself. This contemplates you being either unconscious, confused, or injured in some way that impairs your judgment. This allows that person to consent to a procedure that you might need, or make other decisions that attending physicians may need consent for. Keep this document in a prominent place for your advocate to use on your behalf. Step number 3. Living will. This document states what your wishes are if you are in an irreversible vegetative state with no hope of recovery. Now, the typical scenario we hear all the time on the news is like the Karen Ann Quinlan scenario, where you're in a coma, you are irreversibly brain damaged, or where you are actually brain dead. For instance, you've had a severe stroke, you're brain dead, but your heart and lungs are still working, so you are still technically alive. Would you want to be kept alive on machines and medication? Or would you like to be left alone to be able to go peacefully and as quickly as possible? This is a conversation you should have. I'm a mom, and I would have that conversation with my daughter to let her know ahead of time what my wishes are. I don't want to be on a respirator. I don't want to have a feeding tube, a liquid tube, and a medication tube, just so I could continue to live as a vegetable indefinitely. I would want my agent to say, "Stop life support." My daughter should not have to make that decision, and that be on her conscience. This document allows her to know my wishes, so she can follow my wish without any guilt and with a clear conscience. Step number 4. Accounts need beneficiaries. You need to check all of your accounts, your checking, savings, IRAs, your stock accounts, and make sure you have beneficiaries listed. Many people don't. It's very important because you want your accounts to automatically go to your beneficiaries without the need to probate your will. Accounts with beneficiaries will automatically pass by operation of law at the moment of your death. What we run into much too often is people who have had accounts for years and years, and they have never had beneficiaries on the accounts. Or they have beneficiaries on them, but the beneficiary has long since died. So when you die, instead of passing to your children, that account would have to go through probate. It would then pass in accordance with your will, or if you don't have a will, in this case, the intestacy statute. So it's important to periodically check the beneficiaries on all your accounts. Step number 5. Prepare a will. If you die, or when you die, let's face it, we're all going to, most people would like to be the one to decide who gets their property. If you don't have a will, the state will decide who gets your property. Now, the state decides it goes to your heirs in various proportions. But if you die without a will, the intestacy statute says 50% of your estate goes to your spouse, plus $50,000, and the other 50% minus $50,000 goes to your children equally. That may or may not be how you want your property to pass upon your death. And if you are older, you may not want your spouse to inherit at all, because your spouse might need public benefits, and might need to not have money in their name. That's a very basic thing. In addition to a will, at age 70 or over, it is advisable to start to put their assets into an irrevocable trust. A trust does many things. It allows you to avoid probate. When you die, the trustee simply pays out bequests to your heirs. It also gets assets out of your name, so that if you should ever need to go into a nursing home, your assets could be protected. You'd be able to have the government pay for the cost of your nursing home. Nursing homes will drain wealth very fast if your assets are unprotected. Generally, I do both the will and the irrevocable trust. It's a suspenders and belt approach to cover all possibilities. You may believe you have put everything into your trust. Upon your death, there may be some account you forgot about that gets located and doesn't have a beneficiary and wasn't in the trust, and we have to go probate your will to dispose of that account. So we'll do a will that says, if there is anything in my name, I want it to be paid into my trust so that it can be disposed of with all of my other assets. Planning summary and emergencies. This is one area in which it does pay to plan ahead. It pays really big. Because I help a lot of people in emergency situations who have not put these basic things in place, I want you to understand what a difference it makes in cost. With the exception of a trust, each of these documents cost in the hundreds of dollars. Conversely, if something happens to cause a person to lose capacity, and we need to go to the court in order to appoint someone to take care of your business, it can cost in the tens of thousands of dollars. In addition to spending that kind of money in legal fees, if you need to do emergency planning because you need to be in a rehab facility, you may lose approximately half your assets. So please, it's extremely important to call me before your situation becomes dire. However, if you do find yourself in an emergency, we are here to help you. We can always make a bad situation better.